Hello, Hilly P here, welcome back to another video. Today I'll be doing my 100 sub special, which will be what if Deku had the Joker's personality? Because in the comment section someone wanted what if Deku was the Joker, but that's already been done too many times. So this is me putting my own twist on it, so I'm going to be giving him the Joker's personality. So now we're going to cut to when Izuku's being born. So Inkos pushes out Izuku, and then his twin brother will be pushed out. See, these two brothers are going to be they're like perfect brothers. They will love each other no matter what. Inko loves them both equally. Asashi is still there, and his fire quirk is just very excited because Izuku's brother doesn't have his green hair, he has red hair, because I'm going to say Asashi has red hair because his fire quirk. So Izuku's brother has red hair, so now it's going to do a little bit of a time skip to when he's 4 years old, and they're giving their quirks off. So they do Izuku's younger brother first, and nothing's changed from the anime up to this point, or manga, so nothing has really changed. So they're like semi-Bakugo's friend, they're Bakugo friends and all that stuff. And pretty much what happens is, in the Quirk Doctors, his brother, you guys can comment down below, you guys can have creative freedom on what his name's gonna be. His brother goes in first, and he comes back saying he has a fire quirk. I'm pretty sure Asashi's quirk was, like, fire coming from his mouth, like breathing fire. I'm just gonna say it's gonna be breathing fire. So his brother can breathe fire. Like, it's a very small one. It's not too strong at this point, but he can breathe fire. And Izuku, on the other hand, they didn't find the bone in his foot. So, whatever bone, he doesn't have it. So now they find out that Izuku is going to be quirkless. Now, this is going to be a shock to Inko, Asashi, and his younger brother, and, the whole family. It's going to be a shock to them all that Izuku is quirkless, and they're pretty much going to have to deal with a quirkless son. So Inko's disappointed because in this world, if you don't have a quirk, you are considered useless, and it's like a lot more stronger, heinous towards people without quirks. And that also includes, and it's also less likely for that quirkless, so it's more treated like a disability, like more than in the show. So pretty much, as a collective between Inko and Asashi, they start, because they don't want to do anything rash yet, to check, maybe he might be a late bloomer. So they're pretty much checking for any possibilities, but they both start neglecting Izuku and start putting all of their effort into Izuku's younger brother. So at this point, Izuku's younger brother, because he's getting treated super well by his parents, and he starts treating Izuku like nothing, and starts ignoring his brother, and pretty much acting like he does not exist. So, both the parents are both pretty much doing everything that Izuku's younger brother wants, and Izuku's just pretty much living out in a shed behind the house. So pretty much every night they'll bring him like a single bit of stale bread, and maybe like a soup that they prepare every month for him, because they're not animals yet. So pretty much they do that. Asashi, on the other hand, is starting to get sick of it. He's starting to get sick of seeing Izuku, even looking at that shed and imagining what he looks like. He's starting to get sick of it. So now, Asashi's gonna go to Izuku with a huge smile on his face and say, "Hey Izuku, come this way. Come, I have something to show you." And pretty much, Izuku's excited for once, because he actually gets to see his father. because they've pretty much neglected him all the time, and they don't even see him anymore. Well, they look at the shed and imagine him, but they don't really see him, and he's not allowed outside of it. So now that he's in a car, and because he hasn't, this is like a year later, so they've been treating him this badly for about a year now. So now that they've been treating him this badly, he's just sort of lost hope in them, but not particularly at the same time. So he still wishes them to be good, but he knows subconsciously that it's not going to change. But Asashi is going to put Izuku in the car. They're going to drive over, because this is a big city. He drives over to an alleyway, kicks him out of the car, and says, "Go live on the streets, you dirty animal." Because Asashi doesn't even look at Izuku like a human anymore. To Asashi, he's just a waste of space. So at this point, Inko still has a little bit of caring for him, and his brother's like, not really though. They both, well, let me continue. Asashi kicks him out and saying those cruel words, and drives back home. He immediately tells Inko, and she says, "Why did you do that?" And then she thought about it for a second and said, "I won't miss him too much." And he tells Izuku's younger brother, and he pretty much has the exact same reaction as Inko. A little bit surprised at the start, but as soon as it starts kicking in on what actually just happened, he has a sort of a devilish smile and says, "Okay, that's fine." So, because at this point, this family's completely forgotten Izuku, and Izuku's living on the streets now. So now he starts living on the streets, and after being forgotten by his family, he starts getting picked on by all the other street and homeless people, and he starts to begin this mentality of sort of like the Joker mentality. The world's a stage, and he's just performing. So he always has a massive smile no matter whatever he's doing. He learns how to sing from watching I'm just going to say he knows how to sing and dance from watching a store window for hours until every day he got kicked by the store owner because it's driving away customers. So he gets kicked away, and at this point, everyone knows, well, not everyone knows, people know about this kid living on the street that just sits at the store watching videos, because it's been done for a week now. And he's starting to get hungry and thirsty, because he's never stole anything before. And because he's learnt the Joker mentality, I'm just going to start calling it that, the Joker personality, and he starts not caring. He sees the richest old man walking. He sees a rich old man walking on the streets. He says hi and introduces himself, and he says, "You look pretty lost, old man. Where are you trying to get to?" And this old man's not going to be too important to the story. I'm going to say he's a mafia boss. So he says, I'm just walking up the street. Oh, thank you. And pretty much Izuku says, "It's fine." And because Izuku's always been really good with sneaking stuff out and pickpocketing, so he quickly goes in the pocket, grabs whatever's out, and pulls it, and just runs. The old man looked back and realized what was in his pocket, and just went, "Oh shit," and tried to run after him, but he actually lost him because Izuku's learned the street that he was on. He picked a very unpopulated street and all that stuff, and that old man just said, "I've plenty." What Izuku stole was a good old-fashioned handgun. Yes, he stole a gun that was in his pocket. So now he can officially start robbing people and whatever he wants. So he has a gun now. Actually, no, I'm gonna make sure this one I don't want to put any guns in because I want him to learn. Yeah. Okay, scratch that. I'm gonna say he takes his wallet that's filled with cash. I'm gonna say it's filled with cash. And with this money, Izuku, because he's 4 years old still, he's 5 years old now, because I said it was going on for a year. So he's 5 years old now, and at this point, Izuku he buys enough money to buy a nice suit, and he buys a nice suit and gloves, as you can see in the photo. You probably can't see it due to the hoodie, but he is wearing a suit under that. So he's wearing a suit and gloves. The gloves are on his hands, with a massive smile, walking through the streets. And he goes over, and he doesn't buy anything too ridiculous. He does buy a baseball bat, because people are confused by this, seeing a 5-year-old with a suit on and having a baseball bat. People are very confused about this scene, but people don't really question it because this is like in the slum area of the city, and people like to forget about this area. And because even the heroes don't really care too much about this area, because crime happens all the time. The police and the heroes pretty much given up on trying to fix every problem in this area. So now that they've given up on fixing all the problems in this area, crime happens regularly, no one's really there to stop them. So at this point, Izuku's just walking around the streets and sees these people getting mugged. And pretty much, he walks over behind the person mugging them and cracks him over the head with his baseball bat. And everyone's surprised except Izuku, with a massive smile on his face, and say, "You're welcome, now compensation." And they're very confused by this statement, and this 5-year-old kid that just because I'm going to say, he knocked out this man mainly because it's a weak man that's been hungry for like 5 years, that's been hungry for like a week. Because Izuku also went out and bought food and water and stuff. Because it wasn't like overly big. It was like, I'm gonna say it's a pretty bad suit. Like, it's raggy and old. Like, he got it from an op shop. And the baseball bat's pretty bad as well. I'm gonna say he didn't get anything too special. He probably just got a metal baseball bat that wasn't too expensive, like a $20 baseball bat. And now he has a $20 baseball bat, suit, and pretty much he still has the old man's wallet, and he bought food and water, and he's been living in a cardboard box because he lives on the street. No one has homes on the street, so I'm going to say he's living in a cardboard box in an alleyway. And this is the alleyway that this, I'm going to say couple is getting mugged by this really weakened man I'm going to say this man has a pocket knife. And Izuku clocks him in the head with a baseball bat, and pretty much says to the couple, compensation, and they're just very confused and thank him and start to continue walking. Izuku, seeing this, starts having a massive grin on his face, and he does the exact same. He clocks both of them. He clocks the man in the head with a baseball bat, as hard as he could, and he does the same to the girl. So now they're both knocked out, and he has 3 people knocked out. And in his alley, he has there's a back plot behind a garbage area where there's 10 boxes, and he pretty much made a little box fort where he lives. So pretty much what he does, he drags these three people over to his box fort, and pretty much starts trundling through their stuff, seeing the old man has a pocket knife, and these 2 people have lots of money and clothes. So pretty much what he does, he takes all the clothes except underwear. No, he actually doesn't. He takes everything. Absolutely everything. And also, because he's been there I'm going to say he does this because he's been there for a little bit. This isn't a week. It's been like a month since he's been living on the street. So, because it's been a month that he's been living on the street, he sort of get to know the way of what he's doing. And there's been people walking around saying, if you want to sell organs, because these are doctors that are willing to sell body parts to get extra money. So we'll give you half the profits if you sell us your body parts. And yeah, Izuku goes over and sees what they do and watches them and learns. And they're not just harvesting organs, they're harvesting a lot more than just that. I'm gonna say they're inhumanely they're pretty much doing inhumane experiments on them and on these people in the slums. And they see Izuku watching, and this is them like completely dissecting a man and looking at all this insides. And this kid that's just watching in is completely numb. He just doesn't care, and he's just watching, and he has a little notepad and pen, and he's taking notes. The doctors see this, well, the doctors in inverted commas, see this, and they ask the kid, "Hey kid, do you want to donate organs, or are you here to help? What are you here for?" And he says, "Oh, I'm just here to watch, sir," with a massive smile on his face. And the doctor, it sort of hits him home, seeing this kid with a smile on his face and taking notes to a dead body that he's dissecting. So he says, "Hey kid, do you want to learn what I'm doing? I'll teach you." And after hearing these words, Izuku, with a massive, even bigger smile now, says, "I would much appreciate that, sir." And pretty much at this point, Izuku's watching this man dissect, and this man's explaining everything that he's doing and why he's doing it. And at this point, while explaining all of the stuff, he says, "Kid, you're quite interesting. How long have you been here?" He says, "I've been on the streets for about a month, sir." And he says, "I'll take you in." And pretty much, Izuku, with a massive grin, says, "Thank you, sir." And pretty much he goes over to his... And the man says, "Okay, bring everything you have. And within the next 5 minutes, be back here and I'll bring you to my house." Because this man's thinking of anything he can do. And pretty much Izuku says, "Thank you." And what he does, he takes the 3 people that he just knocked out and taken everything off them. I'm going to say he hasn't taken the clothes yet, but he's checked inside the pockets and taken everything from his pockets, including the pocket knife. So pretty much they go over to this very expensive... I'm not going to say it's very expensive. I'm going to say it's an off-the-grid apartment not a complex. He goes to an off-the-grid house that's like officially off-the-grid. No one really knows. It's sort of in a forest, like... It's in the slums, but a little bit outside the slums, because this slums is right next to a forest, and it's right in this. It's in the slum area of the forest, because not many people really go there because there's no wild animals. All the food has already been picked out, and they pretty much know they're not going to get anything from living there. So all the homeless people like to live near the streets, where they can either try to mug people or try to beg for some money or water or anything at this point. So that's where they normally are. So they go far out, and this doctor says, "Here we are." And pretty much Izuku goes into the house, and the man was very surprised seeing this young I'm going to say he's 5 years old, but I'm going to say he's like surprisingly muscular. Like, he's toned, but he's not overly... I'm not going to say he's not buff, because during when he was isolated in his little shed, they pretty much gave him nothing, except I'm going to say they dropped there was some workout equipment there that the dad forgot to take out of it, but Isashi just didn't care, because as soon as Izuku went in there, he went, "Damn it, my exercise equipment." And Sashi was going to go pick it up, but then he remembered Izuku's in there, so he just forgot about it and didn't care anymore, and just bought another set of exercise equipment. So while he was in the shed, a 4-year-old kid was doing some exercises, strengthening his body a little bit, so that's how he was able to knock out people. And he's been doing like regular exercises when he's on the street, like he's been doing sit-ups, push-ups, and all that stuff, so he still has a okay body. He doesn't have any packs, but he's toned. Yeah, I'm gonna say he's toned. So he's gonna be living with this doctor for about... I'm gonna do 1 year time skip, so now he's actually 2, so I'm gonna say he's 7 now. 7, his suit has obviously outgrown him, and he buys a new one. And now he has a brand new suit. He's 7, and I'm going to say he buys a hoodie as well that he likes to wear over a suit, which is sort of contradicting the fact of wearing a suit. So now at this point, the doctor asks before, "Oh, what's your quirk, kid?" And he said, "I don't have any. That's why I was thrown out." Sir? With a huge smile on his face. And the doctor was always confused why this kid has a massive smile on his face. And now the doctor explains what he's doing to the people. What he's doing to the people in the slums. He's been slowly taking them over with a little bit of something called Serum XL. I'm going to say that. He's created a brand new super serum that's named Serum XL. And what Serum XL is a mind-numbing drug that not only allows you to perform surgery without them really needing to wake up, but also you can easily it makes them more susceptible to, pretty much it makes their brain okay, I'll explain it literally instead of trying to explain it what it is. So pretty much what he does, he drugged a man on the first day, and then when the man woke up, he obviously didn't have a liver. I'm gonna say he took out a liver to sell on the black market, and he's very confused about this and says, "Why do you need the liver, sir?" Zuku asks, and he says, "Oh, I sell these. They catch a lot of money, and there's a lot of people that need them. So it's a very good, steady income." And he says, maybe I could help. And he starts explaining on all the stuff that he does. And he starts to understand it. He understands the full human body. So he starts to learn how to put needles into people, well, without getting them killed, because, yeah, that's a thing that can happen. Also, he gets something that are very small needles that so they're needles that they're not like doctor's needles. I was talking about he can inject doctor's needles. But, there's the injections and all that stuff from vaccines and stuff. But now he has, these small little needles that if he puts it in the right spot, it can make the whole body go numb, except the brain and face. So he starts learning about all the stuff, where to put in the body to make a certain body part go numb, or to make them feel excruciatingly pain. And Izuku's soaking in all this information, and eventually he starts to learning about Serum XL, and pretty much what the sir says and shows him is a man that just got his liver taken out, and he's, thankful of the doctor, even though nothing truly happened. But he believed that the doctor saved his life. So it creates an illusion of the person that injected it, the person they last saw, doing a heroic act for them. And pretty much he says, "What, is there anything I can do? Can I help? Is there anything I can do to help you? Is there anything at all?" And pretty much, Sir says, "Yes, there is. Could you please go back and not tell anyone where I live?" And he says, "Yeah, sure, that's fine." And he does exactly that. So it's a semi-brain-numbing, brain-controlling thing. I don't want to use the words brain control, mind control, because it is that, but it's not at the same time. So this doctor is very smart, strong, and understands everything. And Izuku is still soaking in all this information even after 2 years. And the doctor said it's 2 years' time. In 2 years' time, this is where it's going to cut back to. Okay. So now that Izuku has fully grasped all the lessons that the doctor has taught him, and the doctor said, "Okay, you're good enough to be on yourself now." And Izuku said, "What? Is that okay?" And pretty much he says, "You can sleep one more night, and then I want you out of this house. Is that okay?" And he says, "That's fine, sir." And with a massive smile on his face. And with that smile, the doctor got a little chill down his spine and says in his head, "I never really liked that. That kid always has the weirdest smile." but he also rebuts his statement in his head. But he's also a fucking he's also a fantastic he's a fantastic assistant. He learns information way too fast, because obviously the Joker is very, very smart. His personality trait is a little psychotic, but he's also very, very smart. So what Izuku does is, while the doctor's sleeping, he injects a sleeping agent into his arm. And actually, before I get into this, the 3 people that Izuku knocked out, the doctor showed him and dissected them for him. So he has all their clothes, everything from them, and yeah. So he has everything. They just got dissected, and for information for Izuku to learn the human body a little bit more. So let's cut back. So now that the doctor is asleep, Izuku sneaks into his room without waking him up. He injects the not injects him yet. He straps the doctor down into the bed, into his bed, and then he wakes the doctor up. The doctor slowly opens his eyes and says, "What? What the heck? What?" And tries to lift his arm, seeing that his arm's strapped down to his bed. Izuku pulls off his sheets, so now it's just a plain bed with him in his nightgown. I'm gonna say he has a nightgown on in the bed, which is stupid, but yeah, he has a nightgown on, and pretty much Izuku rolls up the sleeve of the nightgown and he says, "Hello, sir. I would like to thank you for your experiments, all your lessons that you taught me. They've been very educational." And he says, "Yeah, you're welcome. Just untie me, is that okay?" And he says, "No, I can't do that. I'm having too much fun." And he's just saying, "What fun?" And pretty much he sees Izuku with a chemical in a injection tube that, yeah. And he says, "Kid, what is that?" And he says, "Oh, just the new concoction that I made. I would like to thank you for your chemistry classes. They were very helpful." And he says, "What?" And pretty much he injects it straight into the bloodstream, and his whole body goes numb, except his brain. He can his nerves haven't gone numb. His mouth and his vocal cords. He has numbed his whole mouth and vocal cords, so he cannot scream out in pain. But he still feels all the pain that Izuku will do. So he starts cutting him up. He starts dissecting him from the bed. And pretty much he starts dissecting him, and he feels all the pain. And he slowly does this, and starts to wear and tear on him, and it really, really bloody hurts. And eventually Izuku says, after torturing him for about two, actually, I'm gonna say for about a week goes by, and Izuku's finished torturing this doctor, and the doctor says, "Please," yeah, it doesn't say anything because he still has a drug inside him. And pretty much Izuku says, "This isn't fun anymore. I've already done everything I could." And pretty much right then, through the heart, stab. He stabbed him through the heart. And at this point, I'm gonna say that no one really knows of this doctor's existence, so Izuku just goes out the back, digs up a hole, and plops him in. And pretty much he takes the doctor's, he doesn't take anything from the doctor's. That's going to be his house now. So he's going to be living in the slum area, but a little bit further back. So at the same time, Bakugo has a little bit less of a complex, because Izuku's younger brother is also there. And I'm going to say they don't have fights, they're very close friends, and Bakugo doesn't really pick on people anymore. He's more like a regular high schooler at this point now. So now that Bakugo's tamed and Izuku's brother, they're all nice and buddy-buddy. And now I'm gonna say that UA will be at the end of year 12. I'm gonna say it's going to be like my other what if. If you want to know that, go check out my other what if you haven't seen it. It's very, very good. If it was what if Deku was abandoned in the military, it's fantastic. It was my first one, and I hope you enjoyed it. So get back to this one. Sorry for that promotion. It's very, very good, my opinion at least. So right now, Izuku's just starting to take people and start dissecting them on the table. And then he realizes that this chemical XL, he can modify it and change it to whatever he needs it to be. So pretty much he has found what he does, he starts doing inhumane experiment to people in the slums, and sort of like what the doctor was doing, and using the chemical XL. But the chemical XL has actually been modified by Izuku for different needs. So instead of just believing that Izuku saved them from something that never really happened, like a mirage, so now he starts making it addictive. He starts making it more and more interesting for him and to play with people. So he likes to play with people's emotions and other things. So that's why this chemical XL is so good for him, because he's learned how to modify any illusion they see. Instead of just seeing something random that the doctor only needed, he starts examining it to see what the different properties that he can do with it. And eventually he starts getting bored of all the people in the slums, and he's still like a 9-year-old kid. And what he does, he goes out in the real world, not the real world, into the more expensive part of town, and he sees this girl with sort of like blonde-ish, like a little bit darker than blonde hair. This girl is going to be Toga, but Toga has no problems. Her quirk, no one really cared about her. They still loved her. So nothing really happened. So Toga's a regular girl. Izuku, seeing this, got a little bit annoyed because Toga and her two friends were the first people that he saw after getting out of the slums, besides people from the slums. So pretty much he says hello, and he introduced himself. I am Izuku Midoriya. Nice to meet you, miss. And Toga's sort of taken back by this, and pretty much he introduced himself. Her and her friend, I'm going to say it's her and one other person, get a little creeped out and continue walking home. And they're just chatting away, and Izuku's semi-stalking them. And what he does, he gets out one of his needles, he laces his needle with a sleeping agent, and pretty much throws it, because he's been training, the doctors trained him to throw needles, and so he can subdue people from far away, or obviously will not be as accurate as he would be if he got up close. So what he does, just to be a little bit, psychotic, because I'm going to say he is very psychotic. So he throws his needle, hits the girl's friend, and she's out cold and sleeping. And Toga, after seeing that, she looks around and sees Izuku behind her, with a massive smile waving her, and talks. Hello, girl. It's nice to see you. I hope you enjoyed my display. And he says, and she's like scared at this point, like absolutely shivering. She goes to her knee and says, who are you? What are you doing this? And pretty much Izuku just says, shh, come with me. And because he starts singing a song, and the girl, and Toga's just terrified at seeing this 7-year-old kid coming up to her, singing a very, it's a creepy song, but it's a popular song, but it's very creepy at the point of that, seeing her best friend completely knocked out. And pretty much what he does is goes behind her and, he sticks a needle into her skin, and she gets knocked out. And while she's fading out of existence, he says, we're gonna have a lot of fun later. And pretty much what he does, He picks these two girls up, and during all of his time, he is very, very fit. Like, he's also learned parkour at the same time. So he starts parkouring over buildings, and he's on top of it, carrying these two girls. He runs over to his house and pretty much straps them into a testing chair. And I reckon this is where I'm gonna leave it off on a little bit of a cliffhanger, but I'm pretty sure you people that know Joker know what I'm gonna do next episode. If you don't, just look at it, Joker's right-hand gal, and you should know what is gonna happen to these two. Also, I would need, thank you very much for supporting my first What If. This will be my second one. I hope you guys enjoy it. Like and subscribe if you want to know more, want to see more. And also, let me know in the comments down below what Izuku's younger brother should name, and Toga's friend. Those are the two that I need. Besides from that, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.